Off and on the clock, week 12. We got a lot of ground to cover. We'll do a slate overview. We'll go through our favorite scroll the F down gems. We'll talk some small field strategy with the Deposit Kingdom and the Badge Bros Brawl popping up in the Underdog lobby. Then we'll hit some 12-person strategy, the final week to qualify for a Dog Bowl. We'll talk about that. And then you know the drill. Slop it up. Pick'ems, spicy margs. We'll be cooking the sliders up in both directions. This is Off and on the Clock with the Badge Bros, Pete, John, and Nez. Let's do it. All right, fellas, another week. Here we go. Fun slate, getting some injury news already rolling in on this Friday afternoon. Nez coming off of the rough Steelers loss, but the Pick'em Bink last night. How we doing?
Could be better, but you know, I had fun. That's all that counts, right? I mean, you got to put that behind you, move on to this week 12 slate, which I just angles to attack this.
It was Nez freezing on you, John?
Yeah, I thought it was me for a second. Normally I'm the guy. And then I was really intrigued what the word was going to be, Nez.
What? I don't even know where I cut out, man. My Wi-Fi has been like 7th layer of hell bad this last few days.
I think it was you cut out right as you said Kareem Hunt should be a first-round pick was the last we heard of you.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, he should have been for a while.
Your robots are indicating as such, man. I've been hearing rumors that your robots were taking them at the 2-3 turn in the $3.
Yeah, getting added in the Discord saying, "Oh, you might want to Nez alert! Your ranks, I think, are out of order." No, guys, I am trying to load up on Kareem Hunt. Actually,
it's always incredible when it's a white tag, that does it. It's like they came into the Discord to write one of the only messages they've ever posted to half alert, but most likely just troll you about aggressively taking Kareem Hunt, which you just read the subtext of the message and it was like, I was hoping to eke out a little bit of Kareem Hunt value and Nez ruined it. And so then I'm going to come in there and passive aggressively tell you have him ranked too high.
100%.
We're on to you. Conmer, I believe is the username there. Yeah, so we do have that news. I know ETR was already projecting Kareem Hunt for the full workload. So a lot of people who started drafting off of those ranks were already kind of aggressively taking him. My kind of whole thought on it, like obviously he's going to move up, but I don't think he's going to move up into the top 10, which is kind of normally like a spot that I'm looking for to where I guess, tell me if I'm wrong. And certainly in the Dog Bowls, I'm sure I'm wrong, but for the BRs, I'm not too worried about CLV super teams for Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. I mean, it's the exact same situation as David Montgomery last week. It's like, if you want to get over the field and you want to get overweight on him as RB9 and take him as your flex every single time, by all means. If you don't, well, he's probably still going to be there in 25 to 28 pick range all through the weekend if you want it. So I don't know, maybe ETR has him a little bit higher than David Montgomery last week, so that might play some factors. And he'll probably definitely push up in the Dog Bowls and become like a staple of the second round now, whereas he was falling to the third a little bit in rooms that Nez was not in. Feels like a smash spot, as the kids say.
Yeah,
100%.
Definitely smash spot. The only thing I was going through the show with JM with the block party, and I was like, this kind of oddly feels like the Lions setup last week too, where it's like clearly they're going to smash on the ground, and then it's like, what if they just want to get some reps? Check out how the old pass game's working these days. It gets Xavier Worthy and Travis Kelce going again. So maybe I'm already ready to gal brain to the passing game side of this. What else is standing out to you guys on this slate, kind of from a macro perspective?
I like the scroll.
Go ahead, John.
I like the scrolls at quarterback, and I like the scrolls at wide receiver far more than I like the scrolls at running back. And I think that's just a uncertainty and matchup based thing coupled with low overarching totals, 10 game slate late in the season, blah blah blah. Where like just running backs just seems so much more projectable for volume now. Like we're way more locked into like the certainty of their rules. So I've been really trying to just get out ahead of that first kind of like 7 clump of running back there. But yeah, in terms of the 6 persons, last week we talked about how it was like really wide open in the front end of draft boards. This week feels like tier, and then you can kind of do whatever. Whereas last week it was kind of like one big ass tier after the 101.
Yeah. What about you, Nez?
Yeah, I'm seeing this week as like, yeah, there's a very upper echelon tier of running backs that like just should not make it past the second round. Wide receiver is there's definitely, you know, a tier 1 of wide receiver. Otherwise, I think you can literally just handpick your own teams. And we've said this quite a bit throughout the season that these slates have been like that. I seriously think you could just literally just hand build really good teams. And this week, I think more so than any other week, you should just like ADP should have 0 factor in the order you pick your players and how you are picking your players. This is one of the most it looks like we just like hit shuffle on some of these players after like the second round.
I mean, I'll just say this. To me, it's such an obvious cliff. I mean, David Montgomery is the worst price on the board. I mean, this ADP for David Montgomery is outrageous at pick 10. Like, to me, it's like after Tyreek Hill, I definitely want to like mix and match these combos through Tyreek Hill. But I like to Nez's point. I mean, shuffle the goddamn deck as much as you want after that.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be a lot of people falling into traps. You know?
Oh yeah. Well, we've seen it in, you know, last week was unique, and I think it's really different than this week, where picks 10 through 20 were so strong last week. You were getting the Rams wide receivers underpriced. We had Gibbs in that range. There were so many strong picks, and it's not saying I don't like these tight ends. I like the spot for Jane Daniels. Like I like a lot of these guys, but they do not separate from the 3rd and 4th round in the way the second rounders did last week. And I do think like the biggest leak in my game at times, and the hardest thing to do, I think, is not to slam the same players over and over again on weeks where it is a truly dead range. And it's like the anchoring effect to the ADP is so strong that it's just like, all right, I have to take one of Metcalf, Neighbors, or Trey McBride at this spot. Like I have to. It's like, no, you don't.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, I think another thing associated with that, Pete, is not slamming the same combos on repeat, because I've caught myself, like, obviously certain game environments and stuff that I like. Naturally, I gravitate to this Arizona-Seattle, especially when the price tags are somewhat muted here. And I fall into the same patterns of, like, every time in the 6 persons just being like, well, there it is again. I can just have, like, Geno, JSN, and Trey McBride to finish this one off, and then, you know, scroll the F down for a flex. And, like, you end up with like 40 lineups, but like the decision-making tree of those 40 lineups are just like one straight line down until the last 2 picks, right? So it's like you're not really giving yourself outs with 40 bullets. That's just kind of been like my takeaway. I'm going back to the Anthony Richardson again this week, but now he's getting a little steam and pushing up to like QB6 or something like that. So I might have to find a pivot off that one right now. But
Yeah. I you know, when I was initially looking at gems, you know, it's like, oh, Anthony Richardson looks good. And I said, no, we're not going to make the same Bo Nix mistake we did last week. No, he's going to get way steamed up. So Anthony Richardson, very strong play, not going to be sneaky. You can see here in the overlay right now showing at 23%. I think he closes, you know, closer to 50 to 60%, which is still nice. Like, and we should talk about that a little bit. I know you guys mentioned it on your Monday morning review show. I mentioned it on mine. I was pretty surprised on the ownership for Jared Goff relative to his ADP. And I do think it's one of those things where we have the historical data on it, but then we have to be very slate contextual with what's kind of shaping out with essentially QB 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And like, is it condensing around the 5 or 6 to where the Jared Goff is going to be 75%? Or is it spread out through QB 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in a way that makes all of them, you know, sub 50%? And those are 2 really different things. Like, I think all of us would have been slamming way more Jared Goff had we thought he was at his actual ownership than what we probably in our heads projected as 70, 80%.
Mm-hmm. 100%. Yeah. And I think that's going to be an evergreen conversation with us going forward as the tools get better, as like some of our historical data gets better, is the onesies positions of like whether they're actually consolidating, because like week over week, tight end 5 and QB 5 will never be the same. So yeah, really good shout there. Big mistake when we were doing our little review there, big mistake by me last week to just be so heavy Lions, like 3 players in my top 4 all being Lions. Primarily Amon-Ra and Demont, and then I had 1 Jared Goff share because I was basically treating it like Jared Goff was 100% owned, and I was like, I'll just play naked Anthony Richardson, and it turned out to be kind of sharp, but it clearly wasn't once it was 20. You flip the cards and it's like 27, 28% or whatever it was for Goff.
Yeah, and because of that, like, I mean, in this week, I think it's going to even be more pronounced as far as the flatness at QB for QB ownership. I mean, there's a lot of really good game environments this week. There's teams that are heavy favorites. There's teams that are in shootout or pick'em shootouts right now. And I think like that the Mahomes 84% probably right. Like I know that they've done a lot of good stuff and they're pretty accurate as far as these projections go. I would probably take the lower on a Mahomes 84%, but that's just me. I just think there's just so many different ways to play QB this week, and it makes it a lot of fun. Makes it a lot of fun.
And the one thing I would just say about these numbers, so if you are these come from the Draft Caddy via the in-game syndicate, and the one way I like to use them is almost through the tiers lens, where it's like, okay, Jane Daniels and Kyler 100%, Mahomes, Goff, majority of drafts. But then this gap is noticeable to me. And this is the one where I don't want to make the Goff mistake. Like, oh, Baker, because sometimes I would come on here and have the take, Baker at QB5, 100% drafted. No. Baker at 45%, because it's all spread out there. I want to match the field on Baker there. So I think looking at these tiers can actually kind of illustrate maybe where the spread is actually going to happen.
And there's a lot of fun ways to play some of those guys too. Like Baker, like play it with Rachaad White, play it with Bucky Irving, played it with because what's propping up the combinatorial ownership of those Mahomes, Goff, and Mayfield is just the fact that their pieces in front of them go every single time, 2 in most cases. So that's why those ones are getting stacked like that. I think that was what I was going to allude to with the Mahomes number there, Nez. I think it's pretty solid. I think I would think it'd be like 85-ish because the stopgap is tight end 1. So like the break glass in case of emergency for literally anyone in the lobby is just, I'll just stack them with Kelsey, right? So very rarely are people building Mahomes worthy and like stuff like that. So there might be some leverage in playing Mahomes this week, but playing him not through Kelsey.
Well, I think that's what's going to keep his ownership high, is just because Kelsey, despite the down game, still the tight end 1. And I think Kelsey drafters are going to stack him with Mahomes at like an extremely high rate.
Yeah. Did you guys see that?
He's going to always be there for you in the 5th round. Like if you're the Kelsey drafter, like if you want to take him Mahomes in the 5th, probably even the 6th, if you have Kelsey, like you can just have it every time.
Yep.
I can't remember who retweeted it this morning or whatever, but there was a stat about touchdown. I think it was Tom. Tom had a stat. There's only 2 wide receivers in football with more touchdowns than Xavier Worthy.
Isn't that an insane stat?
Dude, that one caught me with my pants down. I had no idea.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. We'll get to scrolls in a second. You guys kind of mentioned the stuff at running back maybe being a little weaker as far as the scrolls, so maybe leaning toward more of these top end options. Nez, what are you seeing at the high end with running backs?
Top 3, I think, are like solidified, and you can even put Gibbs in there with his explosiveness and locked in. All these guys are awesome plays, and every draft of mine is featuring at least one of these guys, sometimes 2 if I'm lucky. It's so incredibly strong. It's so tough to poke holes in these guys that like I just don't see a way to deviate from these plays. So yeah. They make up such a strong part of my portfolio that like where I'm mixing and matching is like in the wide receiver tier, obviously, like John said. The top 5 just so incredibly strong, and I mean, there's other strong plays too. Don't get me wrong, but like that top 5, man, is as strong as I think I've seen in a really long time.
Yeah, in the way I know things are different than they are on Redacted, but the thing about these 3 that really jumps out to me is these are the 3 guys that could drop 30 even if the game environment doesn't go crazy. Whereas I look at James Conner, I look at Kenneth Walker, I like these guys, but they need that game environment to go crazy to drop 30. And I'm not saying you should force bringbacks with these guys. That's not what I'm saying, but just like in a vacuum, there's a reason these 3 plays at the top are so powerful and that they can get there in basically any which way.
Right. Yeah, definitely what makes them so appealing, at least the top 3, right? I mean, it's just almost every single time, 1, 2, 3, these guys.
Yep. Wide receiver is definitely a little bit more up in the air. You know, no one really liked Amon-Ra last week. I know he still got drafted a ton, but just like looking at his ADP relative to what he did, Nico, I feel like
40%,
we're getting the slightest...
dog.
What?
At 40%, dog.
It's John, you are not representative of the average drafter. The shit you do, you're not a man of the people in that regard. All right. I'm talking about the populace.
The royal we.
Yeah. Nico, we're getting a slight discount. If that touchdown doesn't get called back, he's got an ADP of 4 for sure. Jefferson, you know, we're all just doubling, tripling, quadrupling down, hoping that 30-point game comes. Sentiment turning on Tyreek Hill. You know, he was really cheap last week. We kind of see him showing signs of life. Now gets a good matchup. I do think those are kind of the 4, you know, equivalents to the 3 at the top. They're not as strong as the running backs are, you know, relatively, but these I think are clearly your top 4 wide receivers.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Nez had a really good nugget about the Justin Jefferson coach speak stuff there, where like he's just seeing different looks than any other wide receiver in football right now. I'll keep going back to the well until it smashes, though, just because I believe in the talent. That game environment could be that one could go one of 2 ways. But anytime you afford me the opportunity to get overweight, like who I deem the most talented wide receiver in football, I'm going to take it. So I have him at like 5. I have Amon-Ra at 4, wow. And then I have him at 5. And I just want to pack my bags with as much as I can there. I think the Nico spot is like, I think it's good. I think it's good. I just kind of want to be the guy that calls his shot on Justin Jefferson week.
Let me ask you guys this for both of you. So John, you mentioned setting your ranks. Nez, I know you will set your own too. I have ranks that I put in. How do you guys reconcile this idea of like having ranks? I want to, you know, be over on these guys, or I want to make some stands, but then with that dynamic we just described, we want to be shuffling these up. You know, we don't want to be fuddled to, you don't want to draft off of your own ranks, even if you like your ranks more than the ADP over and over, because then you're just going to get the same combos of your own, even if they're different from the field. So how do you guys think about that from a portfolio perspective in ranks?
I try to lean into it. And maybe it's not so much from the aspect of drafting the same combos over and over, but if there's a guy that I just think is just flat out mispriced and is really, really just like a far long shot to pay off at ADP, I won't draft him very much. And I mean, I'm kind of feeling that way about Justin Jefferson this week.
Opposite sides of the spectrum.
The total's terrible.
Yeah.
They're in Chicago. Darnold, you know, looking a little bit solved from a defensive standpoint. It profiles to me as an Aaron Jones game. And I just don't see Justin Jefferson putting up a monster have to have it score. I'd rather be drafting an RB2 instead of Justin Jefferson. Or my wide receiver 1.
Yeah, so who's your wide receiver 1? Nico?
Amon-Ra.
Oh, Amon-Ra. Okay. And then you just keep Nico over Justin Jefferson. Yeah, I mean, like traditionally speaking, you know, Bears outside this time of year, we know how bad the field is. We know that they're easier to run on than to throw on this season. Like that's entirely true. The Aaron Jones role is awful compared to like what it's been in the beginning of the season. Like Cam Akers is playing like 40+% of snaps and getting some high value touch stuff now. So like, yeah, I think I agree. I could see the narrative. I don't think it profiles as an Aaron Jones game, but it could profile as a run the ball game. So does that mean you're getting overweight Aaron Jones right now, Nez?
I like him a lot. Okay. I mean, His projections are really, really solid. They're really solid.
Okay.
I don't want to like map this one for one, but there is a little thematic overlap of what we saw with Nick Chubb last week heading into this week, where the team even had come out and said, like, we're kind of saving him for this big divisional matchup on a shorter week. Now you have the Vikings, who were playing the Titans last week. They were limiting Jones, and now head into a divisional matchup here. I guess what I'm trying to say is I wouldn't assume that workload shift is sticky. I think at the end of the day, they still very much want Aaron Jones to be their guy. And maybe they're just mixing in some tactical load management mid-season to make sure he stays healthy for them.
Yeah, that checks out. Yeah, they got a bunch of good divisional games. We ran through the schedule on, what was it, Monday or Tuesday there? Nez, they got a bunch of big ones and still have an outside shot at the division there because they're still 8-2.
Let's
hit
on tight end and then we can go ahead, John.
The last one I want to ask is what you guys think of the Malik Neighbors not practicing, not showing up with gear today, blah, blah, blah. He's been falling in rooms this morning. Obviously, you got Tommy Cutlets at quarterback instead of Danny Dimes getting released there. Two great quarterback nicknames in the same on the same team there, to be honest. But yeah, what do you guys think?
We just got the notification that he intends to play.
Okay.
My thought is at this ADP, where's he been sliding to? I did 10 drafts this morning and I wasn't noticing much of a slide. Where has he been going?
I've seen him go undrafted.
Yeah.
Oh, then I was going to say, as long as he's sliding like 4 to 5 picks, there's no opportunity cost in the mid 20s. You're fine. Let it rip.
Yeah. Who do you guys prefer, him or CeeDee Lamb? Because I think that's kind of like a stopgap with the Q tag.
I like Lamb more.
I agree.
Yeah, I think that's about right. I mean, the usage for them, how pass heavy they were, and just the way that they're getting Lamb targets, they're manufacturing end rounds for him. They're going to be playing catch up here. I'd probably break the tie in favor of Lamb, but I do think that's a really good line for it. Lamb, then Neighbors. All right, let's talk tight end at the top. Mentioned Kelsey still up here despite getting cucked by Noah Gray last week. Brock Bowers goes nuke, still can't even wrestle away the tight end 1 spot. Man, good spot for Trey McBride, evergreen. George Kittle back in play this week. Cade Otton with the return of Mike Evans is kind of interesting. Jonnu goes nuke last week, so he earned his spot up here. Laporta with the Q tag expected to play. And then you're kind of in the scrolls here, Henry, Hawkinson, Ertz. But at least on the top end, guys, let's say through Cade Otton, because that's kind of really where the ADP gap is. How are you feeling about these guys?
Really good, right? I mean, to me, it just seems like Cade Otton is like sure, he's been great, man. Hats off to Cade Otton. He stepped up when he needed to. Feels like the worst tight end click we've seen this season. I'm going to go out and say it. I'm going to be bold. We're on the show. Why, like if you're not taking one of these top 5 tight ends or top 4 tight ends, why are you taking like almost 100% drafted Cade Otton? I guess I just don't. I don't see the reason to do that.
Yeah. And you do see here the gap in ownership, 84% Kittle, 77, and then just a massive fall off to Jonnu, 15. Laporta is getting a little steam, Henry, but after Otton, there's an ownership cliff. And so then Otton, it's like, is Otton closer to Jonnu Smith this week, or is he closer to George Kittle? That's the question you have to ask yourself if it's a good pick.
Well, I would say he's definitely closer to Jonnu.
I mean, I know you're still, yeah.
The team total for Miami is so much better. So much better.
Yeah. No, that's great. What is crazy, speaking of team totals, is how low this team total is for the Niners. I mean, this is kind of shocking. And I don't know if it's spillover from the Brock Purdy Q tag, but to get Kittle back, you have CMC now going to be in his 3rd game. Why are we afraid of the Niners here, Vegas?
I think they're scared of Purdy's shoulder, dude. I mean,
yeah,
good news intends to play, but like playing the same week you get an MRI, it's definitely heebie-jeebie-esque. And it's like, and I think they expect them to be a little limited in Purdy's abilities. Is my guess. And plus it's at Green Bay. Green Bay's defense, little underrated. And we just haven't really seen the Niners be awesome this year. It sucks. I don't like it. I want them to be awesome.
It's
all these things.
It's a weird like martingale spot for like the third week in a row because they came back out of the bye. Everybody was healthy again, with the exception of Ayuk. And it's just like, oh, here we go. Niners go Burr. Everybody doubled down last week. Niners go Burr again. Everybody's been burnt 2 weeks in a row. And now you layer on the Purdy Q tag and then the road travel narrative and them not like projecting off the page this week. And you're kind of like, ooh, I don't know. So maybe there is a little bit of leverage to getting to the Purdy doubles and tripling down again. But the shoulder is definitely worrisome.
All right, let's do some not Q tags, some scroll down gems here. I will save a few for my video going live on the Deposit Kingdom channel here in a little over an hour or so. We mentioned how spread out quarterback is. I mean, there is a lot to love. Like when you have a week, like let's even just say like after Bo Nix here, when you can talk yourself into game environments for like, I can literally go down the line right here. Geno, Stroud, Love, Tua, Brock, Drake May. I can sell myself on all of those guys being the nuts.
Yeah, like very, very easily for all these guys. So this is where I'm just like trying to live. I'm trying to play these games smart. I'm trying to lean in to the lower ownership with similar projections. And this is where I am like really, really living. And I think it's a pretty easy sell when you have the QB1 mega favorites against Dallas, just probably will not need to be used all that heavily. And
Nez froze on us right there.
Let's get screenshot equity.
Jesus, man, so frustrating. I need to get a 100-foot Ethernet cord for next Friday.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
Yeah, well, it used to be 5-foot Ethernet cord, but I gotta talk to my head builder. Why don't I have? He knew this wanted to be an office. Why don't I have an Ethernet cord here? I asked. Anyways, guys, I think
why he put the router on the other end of the house instead of in the office.
No, it's a long story. I just want to just flag plant my favorite scroll down QB is Tua this week. Really like Tua this week. QB 11 against the Patriots. I don't have any like hard numbies on this, but follow a lot of Pats fans, and Christian Gonzalez just like not shadowing. Didn't he face like most of his? I think I saw like most of his snaps were against like Demarcus Robinson last week against the Rams. Like they just like are not, they're just not concerned about him shadowing. So I think this is very good news for the weapons for Tua, i.e. Tyreek Hill this week. So Tua, you could stack them. I don't even think you have to stack them because Jalen Waddle is going largely undrafted, and it could be a Jalen Waddle week. Nice. That would be nice if that dude could show out for the 2024 season. He's one of my favorite plays this week.
I like it a lot. And I think, it's important that some of these guys get stigmas as low ceiling, right? We saw it. Baker all last year. What does Baker come out, whatever week that was, and just nukes? It's like, oh, Baker can drop 35. I didn't know you were allowed to do that. Matthew Stafford, doesn't have the ceiling. Just play it through Kupp and Stafford. Last week, Matthew Stafford. I didn't know that Cooper Kupp was allowed to score all these touchdowns and make you go nuke. And it's like the same thing with Tua, right? Like we haven't seen it yet this year, but it is going to come together. Tyreek is going to get loose for a bomb. Devon Achane is going to take a screen pass to the house. Jalen Waddle will finally have a breakout game. Like, we will look up at a 30-point Tua score and be like, oh yeah, that was possible.
It's my hope.
John, any other specific shout outs you want to give to scroll quarterbacks?
I think my 4 highest owned as of right now are when Kyler falls, I take Kyler. Then I take Naked Richardson, and then when it gets to the scroll, I end up with the other side of the game environment in Geno. I do some Love backstack, and then I do a whole bunch of Drake May. So those are kind of who Drake May is to me this week is kind of like how I treated Anthony Richardson last week, where it's like you just buy a little bit of that floor, and then you hope that game environment goes nuke.
I also think, Nez, like if you're super heavy on Tua, one thing I'm kind of interested to do, and I haven't done it yet, but kind of got this idea after talking with JM is, you play like Achane, Tyreek, and Drake May on a team and see if you can just capture all of the production in that game.
Yeah.
That's you could do that every single time in the 6-mans if you want. So you should run that a couple times. That feels like a fun way.
Yeah. Running back mentioned the scrolls aren't as good this week. I agree. Obviously Kareem Hunt at 31.7. This is a fake ADP. He is going to move up, I would imagine 10 to 15 spots. But right after Kareem Hunt, I think we can talk about getting in the scrolls. You see Tracy here at 23%, and then everyone else down here sub 20%. So if you guys are dumpster diving at RB, who catches your eye?
I think you put him on the cover, and Nez drafted him on Monday, and then we put him on the cover on Wednesday there, going to the post bye week rookie bump to Bucky Irving. I've done some Rashad White too, as like tethered to Baker in more of the pass catching role, though Bucky Irving's pass catching role has been sneaky good as well there. Not really touching Chuba because I hate the matchup and Jonathan Brooks coming back, so that was like a pure fade for me in there. Ramondre role, like in the same vein as what we were talking about with the Drake May stuff, is if you just get game environment. I was clicking that one ever so often. And then the Swift price tag is just flat wrong now that we know that he's going to play, just buying some volume there. So I was clicking Swift and Ramondre and Javonte Williams, who I don't know if last week, we saw the pendulum swing to Estime, then we see it swing back. They're in a good spot, which probably means Estime game, to be honest, when they're like favorites here in a spot. But I don't know. His pick'em stuff is really low right now. They only have it at like 9.5 carries, but he estimates a 0 in the pass game. And I want to take a little bit of that upside through a running back position at Javonte this week. So those were kind of my little cluster.
Yeah, those are good shouts. I think for me, I am really into the Bucks backfield, specifically Bucky, like you said, and I think Tyron Tracy too, man. The Bucks run defense is just like not what we are accustomed to. They're fine, not great, not like a do not draft against, and they love Tracy. New quarterback there. I mean, you can go that narrative. Oh, they're probably going to run the ball more. Well, they probably are if they can help it, and they could be effective at it. And if they are effective at it, Tracy is one of the like very few like strong efficiency plays that you don't really like. Sure, you would love the volume for Tyron Tracy, but like we see 1,101 with Tracy like not all the time, but we have seen it, and it's like it's no big deal. It just makes sense. You watch this guy play; he's very, very explosive. So really big into that. And then my favorite scroll down is Austin Eckler in this spot against the Cowboys. I think Austin Eckler, man, has looked awesome. And I think they're just going to lean on the ground. And I don't think it'll just be 25 touches to B-Rob. I think it'll be a little bit of both. And since this rib injury to Jaden Daniels just hasn't been like this aggressive shot taker that we saw at the beginning of the season, and it just has opened up a ton of usage for Austin Eckler. Yeah.
You just stole my whole pickup segment. I was keeping the Austin Eckler one close to my vest here, dude. I'm in lockstep with you for the pick'em core.
Oh, for the core.
Yeah.
Okay, let me play devil's advocate on Austin Eckler then. I felt like when he was getting the goal line carries, it was because Brian Robinson was out. And when he was racking up scrimmage yards, it was because they were in some trailing game scripts and he was getting used a lot in third down situations. So as 10-point home favorites with B-Rob back, is it more just like a second half salt the game away? Like they don't even need to use B-Rob like a ton and you just kind of like the RB2 in that spot? I guess I'm just like worried about how he gets there.
I mean, I'm trying to compare game logs between him and B-Rob, but like they split like down the middle. They don't give B-Rob, and B-Rob has had injuries all season. He's missed games. He hasn't practiced quite a few times. I mean, this week he's been practicing, but I just don't see like Giga B-Rob games here. And for the way that I think this game can go, where I just think Commanders can absolutely smash, I think there's enough to go around.
Yeah, for me, it was less split in workload and more just like the way they've used the two of them. Okay, so maybe I phrased that wrong. The way that they used Eckler when B-Rob was out was completely different than the way in which they used him with B-Rob in. And the reason I liked it was for the pick'em lobbies for the reception yardage, just because of the design stuff for him now. And basically he's getting all the third downs, all the 2-minute drills, and it was only 20.5 on the receiving yards. So it was just kind of like even if this goes Burr and game script is, the right way for them, he can still get there because it's only 20 yards because he's looked like he's had that juice. And then, as you alluded to, Nez, with the Jaden Daniels stuff, a lot less deep shot stuff and a lot less running and more dump off in recent memory too. So both kind of played bullish for him on third downs.
Let's quickly hit some wide receiver scrolls, and then we can get into our small field and start drafting a little bit. I will do the cutoff here after, it looks like Marvin Harrison, Juwan Jennings, Deebo Samuel, all those guys probably going to be 50+% when it's all said and done. But then you're kind of really into sub 20% territory once we start with Jaden Reed here. I like a lot of these names that I'm seeing right here. So I think there's some fun scrolls. What jumps out to you guys?
These Chiefs wide receivers for sure. I do think that we're going to see like a 20 touch Kareem Hunt game, probably more than 20, but it could. I think there's a lot of ways that these wide receivers get involved, and it's sort of like the Lions thesis, where we think that they're going to go around, and then oh shit, like next thing you know, Jared Goff has 4 touchdown passes. I think we could see that with the Chiefs here, especially coming off a loss for Kansas City. Maybe they're a little pissed off coming in here and just want to light up old Carolina. Or, Carolina getting really healthy. Maybe they actually make the Chiefs have to play a little more aggressive. I doubt it. But, Adam Thielen back? Hello. Little help for Bryce Young, his old 2023 favorite target. So I love these Chiefs wide receivers. If you're going to play Mahomes, if you think Mahomes is a good play, I think it's really worth getting to these lower owned Chiefs wide receivers as opposed to doing it with Kelsey like everybody else.
I like Adam Thielen. He was on my list too.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
Remember when I said you are not representative of the underdog populace? This is the shit I mean.
Dude, if you give me an opportunity that they're trailing by 17, trailing by 20, the best games of Bryce Young's career he had alongside Adam Thielen getting north of 9 targets.
Just play Jalen Coker if you want to make that play.
I think he trusts Thielen more. And man, I am sick. Sick.
No, and this is what we all need to do, guys. And this is something I've realized. We just have to needle John about this play even more, because John will up his exposure for every additional second we send needling him. This is the worst fucking play of your life, John. I dare you to have 35% Adam Thielen this week.
That's how I end up martingale Devo. That's how I end up getting that Taysom Hill up to 40.
Difference.
It's just
don't put those names next to
Slight difference. Slight difference. I was making
Army knives in the NFL juxtaposed to Adam Thielen. Tell me when you're getting in dog or into bombs this week, John. I'm going bum hunting. I need some Adam Thielen picks in my bomb.
I'm sorry for even saying the name. It was honestly a little tongue in cheek, but I do think that there's a chance that the Carolina team can potentially make the Chiefs have to play a little more aggressive. But I don't even think that has to happen. I just think it's one of the few ways, I should say, that we get aggressive Mahomes. And I really do. And I am such a bro when it comes to post-loss Chiefs. I think they want to get right in a big way here.
Yeah, I respect it.
Okay, so this Lions kind of narrative from last week, it's I like
get
it.
some reps.
I liked Nez's Waddle shout earlier, just as a contrarian skinny and or one-off in dog bowls for that game environment. I've done the Drake May and then just tacked on Waddle there. I don't know, with the Q tag on Keenan Allen, I like some of the Chicago stuff. I know I said Swift already, but I'm just taking a shot on a couple of those Chicago guys for that game to go Burr. Chances of it going Burr quite low, but just thinking through range outcomes. And then Jordan Addison's buried. Maybe he starts getting drafted with the, active tag now there. But just playing this as a shitty game that might be more concentrated than usual and could turn into an aired out. Yeah, that's about it for me.
I'll throw a really deep one out that didn't make my video, but Noah Brown has straight up had a better role than Terry McLaurin over the past 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Out-targeted him, out-snapped him, higher targets per route run. Like, you could go down the road, weeks 8 through 11. He has been better. And there is not going to be a lot of places to hide if you're attacking the Washington spot, right? B-Rob, McLaurin, Daniels. I mean, Ertz won't, but as far as like actual upside, I mean, Noah Brown is how you really get, I think you take advantage of a nuclear Jane Daniels week that, the entire field doesn't have, basically. Because if Daniels and Terry McLaurin go nuke, well, congrats, you're competing with 5,000 of your friends.
60%.
If Noah Brown if Noah Brown goes nuke, now it's a lot less. So I kind of like that one as a super deep
good shot.
play.
Yeah.
All right. Tight end, we kind of already hit on him. I don't think you have to get too cute because like we were talking about, like after Cade Otton, like none of these guys, I think you can go Jonnu Smith basically down to Dalton Schultz, Tucker Kraft range. Like I think all of these guys are pretty strong as game environment plays.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think my favorite scroll down, a deep scroll is Schoonmaker.
Ooh,
Schoonmaker, I guess. I mean, I'm box score watching here. 10 targets after Ferg got concussed. Ferg not looking like he's going to play. Heavy negative game script, and they have no problem letting Cooper Rush drop back 60,000 times. So I think this is going to be a lot of targets towards Schoonmaker. And guys, there's a slight correlation between QB2s and tight end 2s and wide receiver 2s playing with their backups. So maybe lean into that.
Yep. All right, guys, ready to hop in a Deposit Kingdom draft here?
Yeah.
I had one more there.
Toss it out.
I clicked Theo Johnson's name once in a dog bowl. Thus far, kind of same narrative, but with rookie quarterback, blah blah blah, safety valve, all that bullshit. And then Noah Fant as leverage. He practiced yesterday, might practice again today. If all the Geno doubles in dog bowl are going to keep going, might do Fant in the last round or AJ Barner if Fant doesn't go.
Yeah. I'm going to say more dog bowl plays, but
yeah,
I'm already worried about poking the John Bear. If it's an AJ Barner, Adam Thielen week, I'm never going to hear the end of it.
Don't worry. It won't be. My track record speaks for itself.
What he's been setting up his entire career.
All right, we got the Deposit Kingdom weekly league. Shout out Hope and Numi for keeping this rolling. $10 entry, 1,656 entrants. Still got that 2K up top. Had a little bit of overlay last week, so come on, don't make me look like a fool. Fill this tournament, guys. $3.10 max.
Get in there. All right, what do we got?
We got the 102. I have not been trying to do any Galaxy Brain stuff here. I've been taking Achan. What about you guys?
Yeah.
It's been Achan 102 for me every time.
Yeah.
I think you could make a case for doing the Mixon stuff, but I don't think the Mixon spot's as nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that just based on like team totals. And obviously Mixon's 103, so no one's overthinking this, but like, I mean, Mixon is damn near matchup proof, right? He just is. It's so concerning for like Stroud stuff, how much they just lean on Joe Mixon. I think, we didn't really talk on it too much. But if you are doing Stroud, I really think you need to bring back. I just don't really know how he gets there without being pushed, because it's just the Joe Mixon show over there in Houston. They're so comfortable giving this dude everything.
Yeah, there's two things about that. Like in traditional, like years past, I think we would have just been like, oh, Nico's like WR1 or WR2, like, but nobody's taking his quarterback. Why don't we do it? And then, I mean, he hasn't had a quarterback finish higher than QB7 this year. Like, it's been pretty bad for CJ, and this honestly doesn't really look like the spot for that to change. So,
right.
Yeah, it's kind of just been like a really underwhelming year. But that being said, all his guys have gotten hurt. The other one that I would say with Mixon is like man, all those expected fantasy points with the Bengals offense, and you watch how the Bengals passing game is going burr this year, and they couldn't just make the fucking adjustment to be like, hey, let's not run out of shotgun with Joe Mixon, or let's scheme up some outside zones shit for Joe Mixon. And instead they were like, yo, Zach Moss, save us. Like, what the fuck?
It's weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
Shout out to Steampunk Mario, always staying on brand as the biggest Lions fan I know. Was hoping Tyreek Hill would make it back to us there. He does not. This really opens it up for whatever here. This is the cliff we were talking about. Pick 11 sucks. What do you guys want to do here?
To who?
To who?
McDust, baby. Get Trey in there.
Okay, I'm fine. I'm fine. I love me some Trey.
Yeah, let's do some. Let's build around this entire game. Let's try to get like 3 or 4 pieces from this game.
Yeah, love that.
And you could even like be aggressive with it if you are like, if we're dead set on having this game and just like, I mean, Metcalf, makes sense, but like you could just be like, I want Kyler before the Marv. Somebody goes Marv Kyler. Yeah, I think it's that kind of week. Like you can just handpick your team, and if you want it to look a certain way, just rank the importance of these pieces. You can do that because like if we miss out on DK, JSN likely there on the way back for us if we miss.
Yeah. Which of the two running? I mean, Kenneth Walker's off the board. Would we want to include Connor in this, or do we want to play this as? Because we're only going to have 2 wide receiver spots to work with, obviously.
Yeah, I'd take DK here, but okay. I'm good with whatever you guys like to do. Like when
cool
that's fine.
Yeah, like I've been doing this a lot, and then it's just kind of like if you get Kyler, you get Kyler. If you don't, then you kind of just make the decisions as the board breaks to you. And then I'd be fine doing these 2 and then running this as like a contrarian Drake May team. That might be more for bigger field stuff, but yeah.
And to Nez's point too. So, and I mentioned this on the portfolio review and shouted it out in the Deposit Kingdom video that I'll post today. But the team who won this contest last week was a Jared Goff triple. It was Jared Goff, Gibbs, Amon-Ra, and Jameson Williams. And I mean, I thought that was just so unbelievably sharp for a small field
That's so badass.
contest. And it's not crazy whatsoever. The Lions had a massive team total. And even if one of those guys failed, like there were still other paths to that getting there. If you're able to capture like a 35-point game and the other guy even only scores 10, like you can get away with that in small field. So I think leaning into the game or leaning into overstacking a team with a massive total is very much in play.
Yeah.
What team this week could score 50 like the Lions did?
The Chiefs.
Yeah.
Miami,
yeah.
Definitely Miami.
Yeah, you could do and they're so condensed, right? Like that's an easy one as far as Tua, Achane, Hill, or Waddle, and then Jonnu. All right, if we're leaning into this game, someone already took someone.
That's what I was saying, man.
Trolling. They're trolling us. Steve Bug Mario. God,
well, the good thing for us is that Geno is like the next best thing. So maybe JSN, maybe Connor went.
Oh shit! Oh my god! Oh,
he's gone.
We just autoed.
It's neighbors. There's worse players to auto.
I was like, I'll search. I'll just put Jackson Smith and Jigba in here, and he was already gone. What are you sick fucks doing?
Oh
Jackson Smith and Jigba going at 18.
All right, let's pivot.
Yeah.
Waddle and Tua.
Three wide receivers. I guess. Or how about this? We could do Bucky or play something through that New York Tampa game.
Yeah, you could play Bucky, or you could take Nez's favorite player, Hunt, and then just make it a skinny stack team.
Hunt is mispriced, right? Like, should we just grab Hunt on here?
This is the most. Yeah, we kind of forgot that Kareem Hunt is never going to be at pick 26 probably after today.
Yeah, and then we have. Yeah, I can't believe these people. Are you? I haven't been looking at the chat. Where are you? Yeah, Yosh. The fuck, brother?
Oopsies. Yeah, I guess we're not so unique as we thought.
Chat saying Lions could score 50 again. Commanders scoring 50. Commanders seem spread out if they score 50, though. That one seems like hard to pinpoint, right?
Yeah. If they score 50, like De'Ami Brown's gonna have 2 touchdowns or something.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
D special teams involved with that. If they do.
True. Yeah, we haven't talked a bunch about the Lions Colts game. It like in my head, it just feels so chasey. It's like Richardson goes nuts. The Lions go nuts. But I mean, the total's there. Get the dome. Big plays there. I mean, I do like it.
Some of the matchup stuff that I've read on Twitter implies that like Amon-Ra is such a smash in the passing game this week because of the way he cooks versus like cover 3 and some of that zone stuff. But I'm not smart enough to actually have a take on that. Just what I was reading.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just like so mid or left IQ, but I'm just like, this offense is so good. I just feel like Amon-Ra is a good play every week. Like, I mean, he gets open at will. He's a great route runner. Like, they're going to get him in spots. They manufacture red zone looks for him too when they get down there. So I'm just like, I don't really want to double count matchups with Amon-Ra.
Right.
I will say, speaking of matchup stuff, I mean, opposing wide receivers to the Lions have been really good this year because teams have to catch up on garbage time and they've been vulnerable. You know, the comp I've been thinking about in my head was that game against the Titans a few weeks back. Hang on, let's make this pick here.
I'd vote Geno, but
yeah, same.
Yeah, Geno's good. I literally thought he was gone because I'm like, that's just how this room is going.
yeah. Just we say it and it's immediately taken.
But I was gonna say I could certainly see a Colts wide receiver doing what Calvin Ridley did. You know, Calvin Ridley went like 10 for 150, almost had a touchdown on them. Like, you just have to throw to keep up with this team. And as long as you're slightly more competent than the Mac Jones Jags, like there's some pretty good scam garbage time points available.
Yeah. So like real quick before we go to the pick'ems, then if you were to play a wide receiver against the Lions, like who are you just going to go Downs because he's the best, or are you going to lean into a little aired out Alec Pierce, who just continues to just be the most efficient wide receiver we've ever seen?
Tune into the Deposit Kingdom video dropping.
Hey.
30 minutes to find out.
I like that. I set you up. That was setting you up, man.
Sliding that 20 underneath the table there. Dog bowl time?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's go. Are you ready?
Can we get in?
Oh shit.
No
4?
chance.
3.
John?
Numi's moved it on me. It's not in the front tile.
No.
9 more.
No.
Yeah.
9 more? Wow.
You guys go for it.
Sorry, I'm always so bad. We never get organized with trying.
I know.
I thought we were gonna do Bash Bros Brawl, so I was chilling.
Oh, my bad.
Oops.
Well, Nez said pickups. I said,
yeah. Sorry,
Bash Bros Brawl. We were all over.
My fault. As if I don't know the structure of the show. Unbelievable.
Dude, I've been having fun. I haven't been getting in as many entries as I want, but I've been getting in like 10 to 15 a week in Badge Bros Brawl and loving it. I had Taysom on like 80% of my rosters last week, so I cracked the top 10 there.
Yeah, they're honestly a lot of fun, man. Like, especially this week. This is a really good week to get in there because even though Kareem Hunt is like projecting as RB3, he's not going to get drafted in there like 50% of the time.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot of like really fun angles to play with that.
And I think I mentioned it on my portfolio review. Like, if you were looking to find a niche, and again, I know it's only one contest on the site, but like all of the stuff we talk about with these 6-mans and the draft percentage and all of that, you could do some of your own math adjustments for what the draft percentages would be in the Badge Bros Brawl. And you would only need to be like directionally accurate on it. You don't need to be fucking pinpoint with it. Yeah. And you would have just a massive, massive edge. And if you just want to do it like totally back of the napkin, just look at, tight end 4 or 5 and set, look at that next little threshold there where it's going to go from 100% ownership down to like sub 30. Like we were talking about Kate Otten. K-Dot's a great play in the Badge Bros Brawl, which is so fun about thinking about the differences of how those draft percentages work out.
Yeah.
That's why it was so fun for the best ball strategy, because every other contest was, we were dealing with a player pool that was 230, whatever, 236 or whatever, 40. I don't even remember best ball season anymore. But the 3 persons were like a breath of fresh air, because like your scrolls actually feel like good and leverage based, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of clicking Adam Thielen over and over again.
So Nez, give us the skinny on Dawg Bowls and 12 persons this week. This is my first of the week. What's going on in the streets?
Just entirely different than battle royales. A lot of adhering to projections in these streets. It would not surprise me to like not have a chance to draft Kareem Hunt in this. He's going very, very early. Usual stuff you're seeing with QB, except Anthony Richardson is like QB3 in the Dawg Bowl. At least that's the way it's been lately for me. And wide receiver, extremely, extremely thin if you wait. So my go-to has been filling out my flex positions and then getting to my onesies is my preferred way to play it. But very scared to be missing out on a big time Brock Bowers game.
Yeah. I am on the clock here. God, I jinxed myself into saying pick 11 is the worst on the board. And now in every draft I have pick 11 here.
Do the inverse, take Kelsey and see what happens. Or you could do like Metcalf Connor. I did that one this morning.
Yeah. I just don't like, I mean, because I only end up doing like 10 to 15, and I have had so much more success when on a small sample when I just don't take quarterback or tight end early.
Mm-hmm.
So I just with my limited bullets, I kind of just like mentally, which kills me because I fucking love these elite tight ends.
I know,
but I just don't take them.
Yeah, that's how I am. And then it sucks because like I'm just so scared about missing out on like the nuke tight end week. But it's been. I mean, I don't have a seat, but it's been the way I've been building.
There you go, John. I like that inspiration. Yeah.
Has there been one yet?
Well, Brock last week, he just got overshadowed by Jonnu and Taysom.
Taysom, yeah.
He went absolutely nuts last week, and it just like didn't matter because the tight end 6 and tight end 9 dropped 35 plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny how that happens, right? It seems like anytime that there's a 20-point tight end week, there's more than one. Like even like Jonnu could have. If Jonnu was the only one doing what he did last week, he would be like tight end 3 this week.
Yeah,
but he was like not alone. It's weird how that seems to happen.
Magic Carp saying there was a Goddard week that was like the week you needed him.
I think I remember that.
Yeah. Because I'm trying to think of one, like we've seen multiple weeks now where like teams had different tight ends, and we've seen multiple quarterbacks, and like 3 seats are like 3 completely different constructions. And then last week was one of the first times where it was like, oh no, you needed Taysom, you needed Demont, and you needed somebody else, right? Like that was like the pieces.
You needed Goff. Yeah.
Goff, yeah.
All right, Nez, you did start with Amon-Ra St. Brown after those 3 running backs went off the board. Is this ADP for Tyreek? Has that been true to the Dawg Bowl where he's going 4 to 5 picks earlier than he is in the BRs?
From what I've seen. Mm-hmm. Yeah, people are just taking him over Justin Jefferson pretty frequently. And I think a lot of it is just the way ETR has Jefferson projected and all the other factors surrounding that game. I've been trying to get a lot of Tyreek because I like doing the late Tua stuff.
Yeah. All right, Nez OTC here in the second round.
Yeah, thinking through this. These guys, just a bunch, 3 running backs behind me. I've been doing a lot of Mike Evans, man. I'm just gonna stick to it. Mike Evans,
I like it.
Full participant in practice, never was placed on the IR. I feel like this was always the plan to get him back on this game. no Godwin to compete with targets. I sneaky really like this game. Really like this game.
Yeah.
The total has me like cooled off on how concentrated I am on it, but I really like this game.
Yeah, Jam was getting me hyped on Evans today on Block Party. He's really interested in him. Love the running backs. Yeah, I mean, basically, we just have to get Tommy DeVito to play slightly better than Daniel Jones, and this can be a very fun game.
I was just looking at that, to be honest, and I was looking at like last year and stuff. Like he won, like he went on like a little stretch there where he won like 3 out of 4 games, and he was a non-zero in the rushing game. Like he had 37 carries for almost 200 yards in the rushing game at one point there. Yeah, he had a 3 touchdown game, a couple touchdowns sprinkled in. I mean, it's not pretty, but it's keep the ball moving enough.
Yeah.
He made some noise. People may forget he made some noise.
One of those wins was 10-7 versus New England.
Jesus.
Guys, if you would have told me, I don't know, maybe mid-September that JSN would be a back end of round 2 Dog Bowl pick, it would have brought a tear to my eye.
You and I both, Pete. You and I
dreamed
both.
of these days. Thank you, Mark,
for
taking JSN over Tank Dell to make sure he could be in the second round.
He did it for you.
I wanted to talk about when you guys were talking about the Mike Evans stuff and like Cade Otton and stuff like that. Like, I don't think the Cade Otton role goes anywhere. Like the way in which he wins, he's like kind of just the Godwin replacement now. And like Mike Evans can just live alongside that. Like Mike Evans has done so much this year on like 6 to 8 targets or like 6 to 8 catches, like 10 targets, like that sort of thing. Like I'm not concerned about the Cade Otton volume, especially if you like the game environment. I understand the notion in the 6-person drafts that like maybe it's bad relative to ADP when you can just like scroll a little bit, but like I kind of like it this week.
So the only thing I will say is I think one of the selling points about Otton with Evans out was like the floor was just so high. Like he had this stretch with 10, 11, and 10 targets. And before that, he was more in like the 6 to 7 target range, which is still a really good role. The ceiling's still intact. But I think you just lose a little bit of that floor with Mike Evans back because it's harder to bank, I think, on 10 targets with Evans there.
A little touchdown equity, too, that gets removed. Wow, Anthony Richardson, QB3. Time's done changed.
Love to see it.
I want to cook up some fun backdoor stack. I think I already found it. What are the running backs on the board here, though?
Running back is probably. I mean, I was talking about wide receivers. Running back falls off even starker.
Yeah, I think I kind of. What do you think? What do you think about Bucky or Reed here, John?
I like Reed. I think. I mean, I like both, but like in the context of Dog Bowl, I think doing Reed and then giving yourself another out at quarterback. So now we have Love and or Geno. You could also tack on Juwan Jennings if it goes around this corner. You give yourself 3 outs at quarterback, plus you get double game correlation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking
at what has been your split on 2 RB, 3 wide receiver teams this week?
Trying to just like go full 2 RB. I think that there are some really good three wide receiver options like what you have going here, but I'm primarily trying to do as many 2 RB teams as possible. It's I would call it like 90-10 conservatively.
Yeah, I think you got to really be leaning into the game environment if you're going 3 RB. Or sorry, 3 wide receiver.
Right. I was looking up in the pick'em lobbies trying to find a tight end that rivals Cade Otton, and few and far between. So I don't want to completely pull back what I said because I said some strong words about Cade Otton, but I mean it's warranted. It's warranted. It lines up with where the pick'ems are comparatively to other tight ends. But
what is it? What is it?
Otton what's his 46.5 receiving yards?
What is his receptions compared to like Bowers?
So his receptions are 4.5 at a point.
Uh-oh.
Bowers is 6.5 receptions at 1.13x.
Okay. That might be a fun little spice. That, like, you know, a little boost on that 6.5
I think they're going to
That's
pass.
not bad.
I think they're going to pass a ton. I agree with you.
That's not bad. Let's do it the other way though. Like, I like to compare it, like, what is the difference between him and Tucker Kraft? Because Tucker Kraft is going to fit Pete's lineup nicely here as well, and that's like tight end 10 or 11 versus, you know, tight end 5, which is kind of the scroll we would make.
Which do you want on Kraft?
Just both receptions and yardage.
3.5 receptions, slight juice for on our side for 1.07x, and then 32.5 receiving yards. So they're all it's all pretty mid. And then you get Cade Otton, and it does look like some obvious upside there. So I can't take back what I said, but you know.
Well, I mean,
allowing other people to do it and not be totally influenced if I am.
Dez is getting out in front of that guy who's gonna be like, heard the OOTC boys didn't like Cade Otton, so I slammed him in my 2 double reverse lineup. Suck on these nuts, little Nez.
The ghost of White Text name coming into the general chat, chirping me over Cade Otton, putting up like 60-1. I'm so scared. I'm so scared.
It's so believable too. Like 560-1 is the most Cade Otton shit I've ever seen.
I knew I had to jam Cade Otton in when I heard Nez call him the worst play on the board.
Tight end 4, bitch.
Nez, maybe if you would have played Cade Otton, you could afford a 100-foot Ethernet cable, bitch.
I'm gonna freeze with my mouth wide open. All right, I'm stacking up Jonnu and Tua. By the way, I'm just locking it in. I like that stack. We're gonna get to it that way. Tua. Here's what's gonna happen. Jonnu was saving me from the Cade Otton blow up. That's the hedge.
I mean, we talked about it last week on Off and On the Clock, how the usage had trended so positively for the tight end position in general there, but also Jonnu, especially with Julian Hill trending to be out there. So like, we kind of nailed that one last week. Only played him once or twice, but as a scroll, no reason to think that trend's any different after smashing last week.
Yeah,
I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
Yeah. Julian Hill did full practice twice. They like him. They don't love him. It's just like cuts in on snaps a little bit, but yeah.
You're not wrong.
All right, John. I'm gonna rip it in on the Jordan Love double.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it's a good way to land this plane. You could sell me like 3 different ways. You could do Drake May, Hunter Henry here. You could do Geno and then just like one-off tight end and or scroll for like Fant or something like that. Or you could do the triple here. Purdy wouldn't be bad either. Purdy's going to go under owned because of the Q tag, but I am a little bit scared.
Yeah. It's tough. I mean, Brock stuff is going to start to look really good if like this injury doesn't seem super serious. Like if we start to get some positive news over the weekend, like I'm probably going to start slamming Brock stuff.
I'm scared because I've done it 2 weeks in a row already.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, dude. You think I'm passing up on Debo at 30? I mean, come on, bro.
It's a lifestyle choice.
Yeah. All right. Nez, you still have one more pick here. I'll recap my team here for the audio listeners. Started out with a James Conner, DK Metcalf mini correlation. Mark Zorner, winner of the head-to-head Deposit Kingdom contest, dashed my dreams of a clean Geno double stack by taking JSN at pick 212. But that was small solace for just seeing my baby boy graduate to those high ADP ranks. And then we finished it with a backdoor Green Bay San Francisco stack. Jordan Love to Jaden Reed and Tucker Kraft with the Jawan Jennings bring back. I wish the Dog Bowl went 7 rounds so I could just add Romeo Dobbs, Watson, and Octavia Wicks. I just keep going. Just let me keep adding these Packers on.
I'm about to make a John Warner memorial pick here.
Dude, Okay, can I vote who you should
Adam
pick here
Thielen?
before you do it?
Yeah, who do you think is going to be?
Well, I think you should take Waddle here. Is who I think you should take, but I'm curious who the memorial pick's going to
be. You're probably right, man. You're probably right. I'm going to do Waddle since you said that, and just do the awesome setup for Tua. But if this guy hits, I'm going to be mad. I was going to take Amir Abdullah.
Whoa!
I love it.
Somebody's got alerts on. Goodness.
Doubtful. Zamir White and Alexander Madison for that game. How about it?
You know what?
How about it?
I'm thinking about messaging Davis and asking him if he wants to run back Patrick Laird week 2020 with Dylan Laube. I mean, if there was ever a time to scam 4 catches from Dylan Laube on redacted full PPR in cash, Dylan Laube in cash. Let's run it back this week, Davis. I'll buy a cake.
I'm praying. I have a lot of Dylan Laube.
I'm so glad you took Jalen Waddle instead of Abdullah. Guess what, Nez? You're going to be able to have Abdullah as long as you want in these dog bowls. No strip stream tonight. There's no Abdullah steam coming. You're good, brother.
Knew I should have got ahead of that Amir Abdullah.
The steam's coming.
All right. Did you recap the full team here?
I did not. I went with Tua double stack with Jalen Waddle and Jonnu Smith. Tyrone Tracy as my lone running back, paired with Amon-Ra St. Brown and Mike Evans at wide receiver. Don't do a lot of 1 RB teams, but when I do, it's with a triple stack or a double stack. So I like the way that team turned out.
Those teams slap.
Love it. All right, guys. I have my guy Zach is working on a transition for us that we'll probably have in future weeks, but just pretend that it's like pew pew pew, slop it up, spicy bar, pew pew, sliders. Now it's time to build some pick'ems here. I'm trying to remember our stuff last week. I want to say we had a close call.
Yeah, Geno pass attempts didn't end up getting home. But we had the David Montgomery higher on the rushing, and then we had I can't remember the other one on the core. Yeah. And then I have to have a sincere apology letter for the Davis Allen not reading the signs that Davis Allen was.
Was the one. Was the one that ruined that game pickup. Was Davis Allen.
Davis Allen too close to Dennis Allen. I missed the signs. I missed that. You can't bet on a guy like that. And then Colby Parkinson got the 19-yard touchdown, and that's annoying because I think we only needed 18.5 or something from Dennis Allen. I think that's what it was.
That's right. This is a team sport. We all pick each other up when we're down. We own our losses together. And it's a forward-thinking pick'em show. And so let's get in the lab here. I am so hesitant after the Nick Chubb thing. I do have one that I love for the core. What do you guys got one that you have dialed up for the core?
I mean, it sounded like Nez and I liked it and Pete didn't. Okay, I'm not going
with it to pick 'em. I prefer Adam Thielen in pick'ems where you can actually clear this. Adam Thielen isn't winning you a tournament, John, but I'm happy to put him here.
Okay, I wanted the Austin Eckler 20 and a half receiving yards.
Okay,
that's fine.
That one seemed game script proof to me. I like the splits when they're on and off the field together. It looks like Underdog likes it too because now it's 21 and a half. I like the splits. I like the rule.
Do you like having a little bit? The only other thought would be do you like the scrimmage yards if he is getting a lot of rushing work because they're not having to throw a bunch in the second half?
I think it's a good, smart out given that they're 10-point home favorites. But that being said, when they go to milk the clock scenario, if they're up 20 or something like that, I think it's Jeremy McNichols' season, not Austin Eckler's season. So I think what we are playing here is for him to be, 2-minute drill and third down back. And this happens a little bit earlier in the game when it's competitive.
Okay. Nez, what do you got?
Yeah, I'm going to take your son, JSN, for receiving yards in this one. Love this. I thought this would be 62. And when I saw 56 and a half with no doc whatsoever, I was afraid to say it out loud, guys. Nez. I was honestly a little worried that maybe I needed to DM it to you and then we could just share it all at once. But yeah, JSN 56.5 receiving yards. It's as close to an L word as you get.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna give another one that I think is just a near fucking L. And holy cow, this one is up 6 yards from when I locked it in earlier. But I love Bucky Irving scrimmage yards this week, 75.5. Other than the Chiefs game, he's easily cleared this number in his past 5 games, I believe, or at least 4. Love this spot. Love that he gets equal work in the pass game. So I'm gonna lock this in here for us.
I like it, gents. I like it. I want to ask you guys a question before we go to the next one here. When Pete's sharing that, shit, what the disable ad block in the chat. I'm looking for who could potentially run the football for the Raiders this week, or does it even matter? Like
it's Abdullah and Lauby.
You think they go into the game with that? I'm looking at their practice squad right now, and I don't even know either of these guys. Tyreek McAllister and Sincere McCormick. All right.
I think they'll trust Abdullah. He's been with the org for a while. He's had a few spots over the years where he's stepped up and handled a decent amount of touches. I think he'll get like the 12 to 15 and Lauby will come in on some passing downs.
Okay. All right. We're desperate in a home league. I'm adding them.
Oh my God. Focus.
All right. Let's pick a couple game environments. This is where I think we really can cook here, especially with how many of these games do seem really dependent on the environment for the pieces to get home. So do you guys have any nominations?
I really like Bucks Giants, man. And I think because the total is on like the lower end, that we can probably get some decent numbers here.
I mean, is there ever, I don't want to force it, but is there anything that we jump on more than when they give us a Mike Evans tutty at plus money? I mean, isn't that one of the hits we play around here?
It is one of our favorite songs.
If you wanted to put a greatest hits album together, it's Mike Evans on the plus. It's Trey McBride, anything to just one time in his whole life score a touchdown.
And then Evans scores and then McBride does it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Spicy Marks as well. Like those would be our 3 greatest hits album.
You guys cool with me putting in the Bucky as well as part of this?
Yeah, for sure.
Nez, what else do you like in this game? You like Tyrone Tracy stuff, right?
I do really like Tyrone Tracy. So I'm like, I got the chat saying that Mike Evans was a LP today. Is that real? Is that real, chat?
I'll look.
Honestly, like,
do you guys care about that?
No.
Okay, thank you. Let me just block out the haters. I like Tyrone Tracy.
The worst thing that happens is if Mike Evans plays, you fucking fire up Mike Evans, and if he doesn't play, this is a 4-legger. So we will we will survive.
Receiving yards.
What do you like on Tracy?
You like receiving yards?
Yeah, 11.5. Little dump off from Tommy Cutlett's trailing game script that we've painted with the running back and the touchdown score on the other side.
What is Tommy Cutlett's MO? Did he check down to Barkley much last year?
You hate it? Then don't do it. Yeah.
I mean, like, I know it's a different quarterback. Maybe he does check down, but like 1, 3, and 5, the last 3 games, like this dude's a monster on the ground. I'd rather just take his rushing yards.
What about rushing attempts? Getting plus money on 14.5. He's cleared this easily 3 going to DeVito.
So I like that too. It's just like it just feels weird taking like a volume play on Tyrone Tracy when I think he's so good efficiency wise.
Gotcha.
But I do agree that plus money on 14.5 is nice.
I'm good with either. Ned, you prefer rushing yards?
I think so, man.
Yeah. Yeah, you have outs if they get in a negative game script and you get a big play, but they're not able to run a lot.
Yeah, the Saquon receiving stuff wasn't great, to be honest. 1 reception, 4 for 50, 1, 3, 2, 3, 3. Yeah, that's not great.
What were his carry in those games?
16, 13, 14, 12, 29.
Okay.
Sounds
yeah,
like
let's go rushing yards.
It sounds like not a ton. Yeah, it sounds like not a ton of like offensive plays, like just in general.
It kind of offsets the Mike Evans tutty a little bit, but man, I do always love playing Rachaad White receptions. It's at 2.5. It's at 0.82. We could toss it up to 3.5 if we want, but I think both the backs get a ton of work in this game.
I respect it. Yeah,
I like it. Let's do that, and then
do you want to boost it to 3.5 or just keep it at 2.5?
Boost it.
I like the 3.5, and then honestly, we
Yeah.
can keep this and just do 4 for 15.8x. What do you think?
Not deal with the quarterbacks or yeah.
Yeah, like
What
this is a pretty strong multiplier.
What happens if you add like just Baker yardage or Baker touchdown? Like, what does it do for us?
The number goes up.
Well,
Goes
how
up to
much?
26. That's actually pretty big. Yeah, it goes
Dude,
up to
26. Yeah, that's a big difference than it going to like 18 or 19.
Right. I thought it was going to be an 18 or 19. That is pretty
Same.
significant because we don't have any straight receiving yards in here.
Yeah.
Okay.
That seems fun.
Yeah.
Is there an angle you like with Baker more than passing yards? Because if anything's doing this for us, like we could look at completions, attempts.
I'd rather just do passing yards, I think.
21 and a half completions. Does that get us the same multiplier?
No,
not quite. Takes us from 26 down to 23. I mean,
yeah.
What do you prefer completions to?
Nah, I think it's.
I think the thesis is to like if Evans is back, if Evans is scoring a touchdown as this slip implies, probably some more deep shots than we've seen in the offense too. So maybe lean more toward yards than just like, I guess you could make the same thing. The Rachaad White stuff means, scamming receptions, but
I think I prefer passing yards.
Should we take the Rachaad White back down if we at the 26 or leave this here?
See what it looks like. What's the difference?
So it goes to, so then it's back to 17. So that's not as.
Then you may as well just take out Baker and then go back up on Rachaad.
So what do you like? 3.5 with Baker or Baker out with the 3.5?
3.5 with Baker would be my vote.
Get this 26er here.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's obviously way thinner, but
yeah. I like it. I like it. I'm just like worried. The one I gotta speak up. The thing that worries me is like playing both these running backs together. It really worries me. I think that this does not coincide with Bucky Irving scrimmage yards. If Rachaad White's getting receiving work, then I think we do Bucky Irving rushing yards. If we want to keep both of them in. Oh, we are doing Bucky rushing yards, aren't we?
Well, it's scrimmage, yeah.
Okay. I think if we are going to do both, I think it's like Bucky on the ground, Rachaad, because if Rashaad's getting 4 catches, I just don't
that
think
actually takes it up too. That takes it up to 28 if we go to Bucky rushing.
There we go. What do you guys think about that? Does that make sense?
I'm completely fine with it.
Okay.
I mean, Bucky's split of production has been like so down the middle. Like he's getting his 12 to 15 carries. He's getting his 4 targets. Like he can get there both ways, but I don't.
All right. Here, I got you. Like the shared scrimmage yard stuff coupled with the receiving work for Rachaad has gotten home like every week. But the straight rushing has been
that's
a
the
little
spotty one.
Thinner. Yeah.
I haven't locked it in yet.
Like he's gotten home, that's 100, that's 70 whatever, that's 80 whatever, that's the 1 week it doesn't get home is 30 whatever, and then Bucky combined is like 88. And like they've both been clearing the threshold of the receptions each week. I think you want the receiving work from Bucky in there. I think in traditional sense, it negatively correlates. I think the way this backfield has been going and what's been happening with Sean Tucker out of the mix, it tells a different story.
All right. Want to choose your own adventure. You guys want to?
Sorry, I was frozen. It's hard to argue with the data.
All right. We'll leave it as the initial with Bucky scrimmage yards. That still pays out at 26.53x. Numi's already toggling stuff on the back end, so we're going to lock this in. All right, I'll drop this in the chat. There is our game stack with New York Giants, Tampa Bay. We do have some news on Brock Purdy, things looking iffy, not at practice in this early window here, not seen. So we will see how that goes. This
game really matters for them too.
Oh yeah,
it does.
That division's so tight huge now. Yeah.
John, what's the slop it up game of the week? What's the gross one?
I like that Miami, New England, and then doing some Drake May stuff and whatever. I'm not sure it's gross and sloppy enough to fully call it a true-fledged slop it up of the week, but it was my vote for game to play something through, and by the sense of it, Nez really likes the two-a-side stuff too, so feels good.
Yeah, what's your favorite way to play May?
Combined, probably. You could sell me on. This is how we played it last year. You could sell me on the rushing stuff. You could sell me on longest rush. You could sell me on some of that stuff. But the two that really stood out to me right here are the Drake May there, and then the spice on Jalen Waddle for 3.5 receptions. It's kind of gross, but I don't know, man. It's got to be Waddle week eventually, right?
I mean, I like the angle, right? The fact that we're getting a plus multiplier on that is pretty fun.
Yeah,
ever so slightly.
I guess the one thing to just look at too with Waddle, I mean, when his ADOT right now is pretty good. I'm just wondering like what the slider is on the yards to where it's comparable to the receptions.
Okay.
That would just be my only other consideration with him.
59.5 is 1.64.
What do you prefer like say 49.5 is 1.23 versus 4 receptions at 1.07?
Yeah, that's definitely better.
Okay. I kind of like having the out to him just having, I mean, he can do this in 2 plays versus needing the 4 catches.
Yeah. Like one of those classic Jalen Waddle slant plays. And we just saw it last weekend for Cooper Kupp, where he basically ran a 12-yard route against cover 0, and then he got 70 yards out of it. Why can't Jalen Waddle do the same? I think he's just as fast as Cooper Kupp is.
Yep.
Chip in the chat alluding to iffy season. Have you guys noticed this in like the drop down notes? Yeah, whoever's writing the RotoWire stuff now has fallen in love with the iffy word. It's every player, every sport.
It's so funny too, because it's almost like when we used to have like there's grades to the Q tag, where it's like, well, which side of the Q tag are they on? It's like we need grades to this fucking iffy bullshit. Because
who's really iffy here?
Yeah. I read like the connotation in my head for iffy is closer to doubtful than it is like probable. Like in my mind. That's how I read iffy. I just don't know if the author of these blurbs intends for that connotation to be that.
I don't think so.
I'm a glass half full guy. When I use the term iffy, I'm leaning on the positive side. So that's hilarious that you're on the other side. Yeah.
If we have plans and I tell you I'm iffy to show up, like I'm not fucking.
He's going. He'll be there. He told me he's iffy.
Like, he'll be there. He told me he's iffy for it.
Yeah, literally, dude. If my buddy tells me I'm iffy, I'll be waiting at the concert, ready for him at the front door.
You are no, John. Guess what? It's looking pretty iffy for Adam Thielen to have a good game this week. All right, I'll slam him.
I wish. Is there like a data source? Sorry to just like hard pivot to show talk here. Is there a data source for longest rush and longest receptions that we can utilize? Because Achan's doing one of these. Just the noodle.
Yeah.
Longest rush and longest reception are both 15.5 yards. He's doing one of these. Just a matter of what.
Yeah. Let's pick reception.
I feel like
crickets. Let's pick Rush.
no. I was thinking through it, and I was just wanting to look at a little of the DVP stuff for the Patriots of where they had been giving up their boosts a little bit more. If it was through the I know like the Rams like shredded them in the splash zone area last week. It does seem, again, I'm not saying it can't change on a dime, but it does seem like Achan's been getting more dump offs.
That DMP for Devonta Smith just turned into an out tag for the Primetime Palooza game there.
Yeah, it's rough.
Not great.
At least you'll be able to swap all of those Devontaes to Calvin Austin, right? Right.
I took absolutely 0 Calvin Austin.
Yeah,
I had some, but I'm still probably dust. All right. Sorry, which one? You guys pick. I think they both seem like equal probability of hitting.
I would say longest rush.
Okay.
All right. So we're up to a 7.38. Do we want any other New England pieces? It is really hard outside of like Ramondre and Henry, I think.
Yeah, what's Henry at?
Henry 4.5 receptions, man. Had 6 last week.
I like that or yardage for Hunter Henry. Seems to be a pretty vital piece to this.
Do you have yardage on your screener? I'm not seeing it on mine.
Yeah, I don't know why yours isn't there.
Click on Henry. Click on Henry, and then
sometimes.
Yeah,
if you click on the player card. So I loaded it in. Receptions is 11x, and then receiving yards is 10x for our current pick'em.
Sorry, which one was the 11? Receptions?
Receptions, yeah.
Yeah.
Which one makes this pick'em go burr? Yeah, we want that one, please.
Well, Nez, you love John. I think something with Tua or Tyreek to round this out.
Agreed.
I was gonna suggest Tua passing touchdowns.
2.5.
That's 1.5, but you.
So that takes it to 13.75.
Doesn't do anything for us.
If Reek's at like 61.5 feels so light.
That's so much.
Yeah,
better.
That feels good.
That still hits what we're getting at with this game, and that is just an absolute domination by the Dolphins with some fight from the past.
I like this one a lot.
Yeah.
All right, for the audio listeners, Drake May higher than 251.5 combined pass rush yards. Hunter Henry higher than 4.5 receptions. Achan 15.5 longest rush. Waddle higher than 49.5. Don't forget the slide. Tyreek Hill higher than 61.5 receiving yards.
That's a good one.
All right, let's get a couple more in here, and then I am gonna have to run. Let's get some of our slides on here, fellas.
Yeah.
All right. Who's getting some explosive plays this week?
Sorry, just 1 second, guys. The slide came with that one, right? So
it should.
The Waddle. Okay.
Should be 49.5. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect.
All right. Okay, slides here.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about my favorite way to do this.
What if you slide Kareem Hunt touchdowns to 1.5? What do we get?
It's probably less than 2. It's probably less than 2.
2.1, 2.31. It's not bad. And then I'll tell you how you round this out.
Yeah.
How are you keeping up?
Oh my God.
This is the world that's only a 10x. That is the worst sweat ever. There's like no sweat equity in this. This is just dog shit.
That is hilarious. That's the John special.
Two on the one side for Hunt and 1 on the other side for Thielen. Let him cook, baby.
I do actually like. I'm really interested in Worthy ladders. I think that's a good one.
Okay.
Nice one from Josh.
Yeah. How do you want to do that, with receiving yards or longest reception?
Man, what do you think?
So longest reception, there's 211. If he gets 60 receiving yards, it's 2.4.
Let's get this thing to 49.5.
Oh my
and do
God.
something with it. Oh, that's longest reception. Oh, sorry. Okay. My bad. I thought that was yardage. I was like, they're giving us 10x on one play for Xavier Worthy.
I was on board.
I was going to suggest 60 receiving yards here. 2.4x. That's
2.43 looks good. Yeah,
it's pretty hot.
Okay, I like that. Do we want to play this as like they just go ape passing?
Yeah, how does that affect this? Like because how would you want to pair this with Mahomes? I'm just worried about the
Mahomes 2.5 touchdowns and just run 2 of them and see what it looks like.
It's 1.88. It's not bad for 3. The other way to play it would, if I don't know if they'd give us a doc on actually doing Mahomes' longest completion. See that? I'm wondering how much of the doc is that? 6.56 versus not a huge doc on it. Basically saying Worthy gets there because of the long reception, but then we don't get the doc because we're playing him through receiving yards instead.
Yeah, the problem with all these is we got to add a third component to it.
Oh yeah,
I've got a third component.
Okay.
Do you like the 34.5 here? Big play.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
What's your third component?
I was going to suggest Alec Pierce.
Wow.
I just think that he's a really easy slide to like 39, 49. Take your pick, or you can even just like, what would you put in there? 39?
Yeah, but it didn't make it move for me.
No. Oh, okay. I think 50.
What do we think about this as a 20xer?
Oh my God.
It's basically all this pick'em is it's 2 plays. Literally, that's all you need to be right is 2 plays.
Exactly. They're going to be chucking, man. They're going to be chucking. They're huge dogs to Detroit. The total's 50 points. Alec Pierce is inevitable.
I like it.
Easy game.
I mean, if we could just isolate a little bit of audio, John's love for Adam Thielen and Nez saying Alec Pierce is inevitable. You know, go to the highlight reel.
Oh, oopsie daisy.
KCAP is what we're calling this one. Let's see here. I'm looking at my sheet, some other stuff that could be interesting. You know, one guy I guess call me Dink, but like martingaling Rome ladders.
Rome it up.
Yeah, I love Rome.
Yeah. I mean, he hit,
I'm good with
he had 65 last week.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm good with it.
I mean, even just taking him up to, you could take him to 70 for 2.2, 69.5.
Okay.
Yep. I was going to ask you guys with this Brock news. Sorry, I'm going like hard pivot. My wheels are spinning because I was thinking of Martingale and then I was thinking of Deebo Samuel. Like, are the Chiefs are the Niners guys going to be like playable, and who plays quarterback? Like, would it be Brandon Allen or Joshua Dobbs? They have Joshua Dobbs on the roster as well.
I don't know, man. I feel like this is just something I'm going to punt off having to think about for a little bit.
If you're drafting tonight,
Allen.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah.
Like, if you're drafting tonight, are you discounting all those pieces?
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
I think you have to.
CMC 101 still?
Yeah, but that's about it.
Well, here's the thing, though, right? Like, the way the Dog Bowl works, because I do think this is way more relevant to Dog Bowl. Like, you can wait to get your, I don't know, at least just the way I allocate my entries, how I spread them out. Like, everyone plays chicken, right, with quarterback anyways. Like, the swaps for Brock aren't going to be that bad, right? Like you're going to be able to put one of those. Yeah.
Would you rather have, because like Drake May's ADP is kind of fake. He probably goes most drafts ahead of Brock now. So you'd be doing kind of like unstacked Sam Darnold, Caleb Williams, Tommy DeVito, Gardner Minshew, Cooper Rush. Like, wouldn't you just then swap to Brandon Allen instead?
Man.
Hope that a percentage of the field doesn't set ranks. Hope that his projection doesn't push him up to like QB 10 or something like that. And then you're sitting there as the guy with stacked Brandon Allen. We did it last year with Sam Darnold on the Niners. It was week 18 or something.
Yeah, I don't hate that idea.
Back to this pick'em, just to kind of correlate with the Rome. So I know, John, you weren't loving it, but
you guys kind of spin zoned it on me. I'm not going to lie. I was just looking at what's happened recently, but the talk of the divisional matchup and your guys' affinity for ground versus air, that you like the Aaron Jones stuff, I'll hear you out. I'll listen to it.
Well, so just my thought was like, this was a game where he ceded a lot of touches to Akers and he still had 15 carries, and it was like a gross low scoring game here. So like to get plus money on 16 rushing attempts, and I like how it correlates with Rome, right? Too, like if we're getting this game script going. Nez, do you have another third one-off or a slider?
Yeah. I think my one-off would just be like Nico to hit the century mark. 1.58x. I mean, if that play doesn't get called back, he probably hits that.
That's another nice, just right there in that sweet spot. Almost 22x there for three things.
Yeah, that feels good to me.
Yeah, good place.
All right, let's do one more touchdown one related one. Maybe, I mean, it can be sliders, but and then I gotta bounce. I'll toss this one in the chat. Who's scoring a tutty this week, guys? We got to look at our tight ends. I feel like that's where we always get some good juice.
Oh man,
what's Trey? I mean,
Trey.
Do we? 1.54. I think we got to put Evans in here, right? We're already on him. 1.3.
Okay.
Anthony Richardson rushing for 1.23.
I don't mind that.
I wish it was more of a multiplier, but he's a monster.
I just want to see like what the like 1.5 does for three of these. And almost 15x. That's not bad.
It's a dock, but like Achane to score a touchdown is like 0.9x, and I just feel like it should be way lower than 0.9. So I just feel like it's good value. Yeah. Even though it's not as fun to not get a multiplier, but to me it just feels like something that I just want to put in like everything that I do.
Yeah. And then Tyreek Hill's 1.15. It also feels strong.
Wow. Considering their total, that really surprises me.
Yeah. I'm curious about some of the running backs in this. So comparing it. So James Conner, 0.87. For James Conner on the road at Seattle to have a higher probability of scoring than Achane feels kind of wild.
It does to me. Right. And it's both, like you got Alex there.
Yeah.
This is 22x if you throw in Trey into that, unless we're just like we're done.
I mean, we have to get even on a Trey Tutty at some point.
Well said.
Yeah, I'm curious what they're doing with the Debo. Are they giving us big? Come on, we're going to need more without Brock.
Yeah, I think it's coming.
I'd start to get pretty, like if we get him up to like 1.75 or something with no more rushing work, maybe.
Yeah.
I think I like the Achane at that price. I think the tough part about it is like Jalen Wright got goal line carry last week. Mostert had 3 attempts as well. I think that's what's driving the price.
Yeah, do you consider that Achane is like the best player to ever play football?
He's the Chris Boswell of running backs.
the best in the world.
Best in the world. Yeah.
All right. I'm locking this in for a nice little 22x here. You know, we're not getting too out of our skis here. We're just building some shippers, dude.
Just a very, very casual, very humble 22x. No big deal. No big deal.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yep.
Very hittable.
Remember when we used to build like the 130x like triple spices and we'd be like one spot away? Oh, yeah. Fun.
I know. Really, like Underdog needs to release a tool that kind of allows, like, makes it easy to round robin your own WUDs there, so you can start mixing and matching. Like, imagine like a randomizer for pick'ems you've already made, and this would be a fucking hit. And you just press randomize, and it like you put in like I want to see randomize 3 legs 4 or 5, and then you just randomize it till you like what you're like. Oh yeah, I should mix and match those WUDs. There you go, $1 million idea. Underdog.
Implement it.
That's pretty good. Guys, I don't have any hate in my heart this week. Okay, nice. You're ending it. I was about to say I don't have any hate in my heart for Haterade.
I do. And it's Adam Thielen lowers, but I didn't feel like bringing that up. Let's see here. All right, guys. Nez, no strip stream tonight?
Yeah, we're going live tonight. The last Dawg Bowl no strip stream, but it's not the end of the no strip era. However, yes, we are going in. I got to win this last Dawg Bowl seat. It's gonna be okay if I don't, but I got it.
I like it. So Naz.
I'll be live tonight.
Get that seat. John, what do you got cooking? Anything you want people to know about?
No, we did a bunch of nice shows this week. Some good evergreen basketball content with Justin Fan there on Tuesday? Monday or Tuesday?
Yes.
There.
Tuesday.
Yeah. And then we did a big definitive football preview after basketball on Wednesday there that I think a lot of it still holds true. Went a little deeper in the weeds than even we did today with some of the game environment stuff. So if you guys missed that one, run it on back. And outside of that, win yourself a Dawg Bowl seat. Last chance this weekend and last chance for a Dawg Bowl winner circle on Monday there. I'm looking at you, Sam Olsen, who is dipping and ducking. I'm looking at Chip. He's dodging us for Monday's show too. So come on, somebody step up this weekend.
Yeah, I guess Chip is a little iffy for the winner's circle. I will have the Deposit Kingdom video drop in like 20 minutes right after I get off air here, so you can check those out. And then, I'm having John Boy Beats on After Dark on Saturday. Legend in the Underdog Streets, the Deposit Kingdom. Excited to pick his brain. Another multi-sport draft lead there. So we'll talk some hoops, we'll talk some NFL, we'll build some pick'ems, all that. You got a question you want me to pass along to him, John?
No, he went 3 out of 5 on the dunking after dark the other night. 1, 2, and 4 or something like that. So
there you go.
He's still killing it.
Beautiful. Appreciate you guys hanging out in the chat. If you guys have pick'ems that you cooked up, maybe little remixes on our stuff, drop them in the Discord. I love tailing along to the fun pick'em entries. I'll drop these ones that we built and put them in the show notes as well. And yeah, it's crazy. Like a couple weeks from now, we should probably start teasing this. We will not have Often on the Clock at the usual time. It is going to be a Friday evening live show on location from Dallas. We'll all be out there for the Dawg Bowl. We got some fun stuff in the works prepping for that show. We did it last year in Miami. Super fun time. So we'll get the Modelo's, the spicy marks flowing, and have some Dawg Bowl guests. It'll be a good time. We haven't nailed down the time for that show, but expect that like an 8 or 9 p.m. show that Friday.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
It's always fun.
Yeah, it's going to be good. And then I think we're going to do something on the Sunday morning as well, right?
Yes. Yeah. We did that last year. I'm down for whatever. I assume Underdog will have the setup, so we can, we're going to we'll have all kinds of content for you guys. The one thing we really have to nail down is how people can live sweat on Sunday. Yeah. That was an issue last year, just even having a scoreboard. So let's talk with Hope and Numi and Underdog and see what we can cook up.
Absolutely. Looking forward
to it. Good luck. Get those seats, ship those tournaments. We'll see you guys next time on Off and On the Clock. Peace.